welcome to the next podcast from millinery.info. This episode is with Cynthia Jones-Bryson. Cynthia is the winner of the 2019 and 2015 Oaks Day Myer Millinery Award. This podcast is thank you to the support of our podcast sponsors, Ms. Haydee Millinery, the Millinery Association of Australia, Catherine Cherry Millinery, Hat Academy, The Essential Hat, and Louise McDonald Milliner. If you would like to show your support of this podcast, we invite you to become one of our sponsors. Here's our episode with Cynthia. Thank you for talking hats with me today, Cynthia. It's great to have you as part of our podcast series.
Oh, thank you for asking me, Lauren. I feel very privileged.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. So what I'd love to hear about first is you just won the Myer Millinery Award on Oaks Day at Flemington. We'd love to hear about those people who may not have had the chance to see the hat yet. Could you tell us a little bit about that hat?
Well, I guess I could say that it's quite sculptural, and my whole idea was for it to be quite feminine and to really flow. So I wanted the shape to just flow into, like, be one piece but flow, and it's bright red on one side and neon pink on the other, and it has lilac quills that come off the other end. So the colours were basically, I chose them because of that song by Robert Palmer, you know, Simply Irresistible, when all those gorgeous models were in their slinky dresses with red and pink and purple, and I just thought, I love those colours together. So
that's wonderful. And in terms of the techniques you used in the hat, is this something you've been exploring for a while, or is this a new technique for you?
No, I've been playing around with this technique for quite a few years now, and it's basically just manipulating a shape, trying to get a nice fluid organic shape, I guess, and then I basically cover it in feathers to give it that really soft, you know, and a nice sheen. Like the depth of colour that the feathers these days, it's unbelievable. I just love it. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And do you dye the feathers yourself, or are those ones that you source in pre-existing colours?
God, no, I'm not that good. No, I wish. No, I try and source them as is, or I get somebody else to dye them. Yeah, one of our millinery suppliers here in Australia.
And your model, is this someone you've worked with before? How did you go about putting the outfit together for the competition?
I actually sourced a model from Melbourne because I have a good friend that does a lot of modelling for me, but she inconveniently got herself pregnant, so she couldn't model for me. So I found a girl in Melbourne, and and what I did was, like, got her sizing and all that, and then I sourced a dress online, and then I changed it because it wasn't the right colours, and then I found shoes and a bag. You know, the process. All the milliners out there know that's sort of the task. You know, a gigantic task in itself, getting everything to work together.
And you've been fortunate. You've won this competition before. Was it 2015? And how did the experience this time differ to last time?
It didn't differ a whole lot. I was completely shocked both times, and just totally in awe of everyone that was up there. And, you know, you see so many amazing things, and, you know, such creativity, and I was totally blown away both times. So.
And in terms of your millinery journey, let's jump back a little bit. How did you first come to be involved in millinery and making hats?
Well, I studied fashion design at Canberra Institute of Technology many moons ago, and millinery was one of my electives, and I just loved it. But I didn't sort of explore it anymore after that. And then I had the really good fortune to live in London for a few years, and while I was there, I did a lot of workshops and courses with theatrical milliner Jane Smith, and she's absolutely crazy mad hats, and what she doesn't know about hats is not worth knowing. And I just fell in love with her and the whole addiction that she had for millinery. And I said to my husband, I've just got to do this. So I bought my first hat block in London. When we come back, I just kept going.
Who are you making hats for at the moment? Are you making mostly racewear hats, or have you explored the theatrical work as well?
I do mainly racewear. I do a few theatrical pieces, and I have done like props and that for the Museum of Democracy here in Canberra and Old Parliament House. I've done some bicorns and tricorns for the National Library. So, yeah, but particularly racewear is what I think that allows you to be so creative. Like, I love it.
And so when you were learning from Jane Smith in London, were they just casual classes, or was that through an institute? How were those classes laid out?
It was through Morley College. So it was actually like semesters, and it was sort of like 1 to 2 days a week where you went to Morley College and did it. And I actually did what's the word? Not theatrical, period hats, like, so where we studied Jane Eyre and straw bonnets and stuff like that. So, and she took us on lots of trips to the V&A where we got into the archives and looked at beautiful old bonnets and pieces from, centuries ago, and it was just wonderful.
And so after you finished the training at Morley College, did you stay and make hats in London, or did you return home to Australia?
I was making a few while I was there. Like I said, I was there for 2 years, but I was pretty busy with other stuff at the time as well. So it was more so when I come back.
And did you establish your own brand straight up when you returned, or did you have the opportunity to work for someone else?
No, pretty much I just started going myself and, fumbled along and, yeah, here I am now. So, 16 years later. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. And how do you think how you make hats has changed over that time?
I've given myself permission to just sort of be okay with not being traditionalist, like not just to do things the normal way, that if you can do it another way or a better way or an easier way, then it's okay. Yeah, not to beat myself up about it because I haven't done it like a traditional milliner.
What are some of those things that you've varied from maybe what might be a less traditional method?
Well, I definitely use glue. Okay, it's out there, everybody. I use glue.
Confession right there.
I don't know. Like, I'll use any material. Like, it doesn't have to be a typical millinery material. Whatever I can find, I'll turn it into something. Like, you don't have to buy, cinema or felt or whatever. You can explore other materials that are out there. Yeah. Which is what you can do now. I mean, you couldn't do that, say, 50, 60 years ago. So,
and how do you go about sourcing your materials? Do you work from local suppliers, or do you focus on importing or using the alternative materials?
I try to buy local from Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, because I like that. We need them here too. So I try to be faithful to the millinery suppliers in Australia.
Fantastic. And with your work, how do you work? Do you create collections every year, or do you just make a constant flow of hats? What's your process for that?
I guess I'm constantly making, but it's always aiming towards a collection. Like, I've already started on next spring because I do a very small autumn-winter collection. My big collection is actually spring-summer. So while I'm blocking a few felts and doing that at the moment, I'm also got some spring ones in the background. So.
And how do you plan those collections out? Do you sketch them, or do you draw them? Do you have a strategic plan, or just making what fits kind of the theme for the year?
Well, I do a bit of a storyboard, and I start off with a few colours that I might like, or colour combinations. I have a look what's happening overseas, and then I put a few shapes and all that, and I put it all in a little storyboard and try and stick to that sort of theme. Sometimes you sort of divert from it as well, but, you see something, I better have that. So, yeah.
What do you reckon is going to be an upcoming trend or popular shape for the new spring season?
Everyone says something different every year, but I think they're going to get bigger next year. I think that there's going to be a lot of bigger shapes and, a lot more experimentation. And I'm actually predicting, for next red. I'm going with red. Yeah.
Well, it was a very good colour for you recently, so hopefully it proves to be a lucky one.
Yeah, but look, if you ask me that question in a month's time, I'll probably tell you a completely different colour. So,
well, we'll catch up in a month and see what's going to be in the trend then.
Okay, love it.
What is your workspace like?
Oh, Lauren, you don't want to know. It's chaos. It's complete mess. I have stuff everywhere. I don't know how I find anything. Sometimes it gets to the point where I actually have to take everything out and start all over again because I can't find anything. So my neighbours must think I'm mad because it all goes out the front door.
Yes.
In boxes and whatever, and then I move it all back in some sort of orderly fashion.
And then I guess you just keep working. So is that like at the end of the season that happens, or you might get like halfway and you're like, oh, I actually can't find anything.
It can happen anytime. And it can happen 2 weeks apart, or
So your workspace, is that within your studio, is that within your home as well?
Yeah, it's a separate attachment to my house, but I managed to drag it all sort of through the house. Whatever I'm working on, that colour will be floating around the floor somewhere. I'm shocking. I really am. So messy.
Oh, so are you working in your millinery business full time, or do you have other things going on as well?
No, I do it full time. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And how long did that when you first launched? Were you working in it full time from when you first began, or has this been a constant build?
No, and I've only been doing it for about the last 4 years. I've been doing it full time.
Do you find? Do you try and create a bit of structure to your week, like this is work time and this is home life time, or you're just enjoying it so much that it's just?
Are you serious, Lauren? God, no. It can be any time.
Question, isn't it?
Oh gosh, I don't know what I'm doing from one day to the next. I sort of have a rough plan. Like if I've got some orders, of course I try and do that. But if I'm just a bit up in the air about what I'm doing, I might, I don't know, go to the shop and get a coffee and then come back and I'll do that. Like it can be any time. It doesn't matter.
I love that. But that's a structure as well,
Yeah,
Let's get done. So there we go. It's
right.
working, isn't it?
My structure is no structure. Oh, dear.
So do you have a big block collection you work from?
I have lots of blocks as well, but one of the courses that I did with Jane Smith in London, we did a 1-week workshop at the sculptural school at Morley College where we sculpted our own blocks. So if I need a special shape, I can just go and whiz one up. I don't just whiz it up. I've got to work at it, but yeah. So,
so are you making is it like a styrofoam block that you form yourself?
Yes, with sandpaper and a rasping tool and that. Yeah.
So, do you find that a lot of those skills you learnt in that like initial training, those moons ago, are coming? They've been a constant kind of support to what you're up to now?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah. It's been great to sort of go back on and I still have all my notes and everything from then, and you look at the disasters you made back then and know what you can do better now.
Do you still have any pieces from what you made when you were training?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I have a beautiful purple bonnet. I might wear it to the next function, Lauren.
I'd love to see it. Fantastic. So how do you said you make mostly racewear. How do you work with your clients? Do they come to you to buy? You have a wonderful online store. Are they buying on the online, or are they after something custom made and then it's a little bit more special as well?
It's usually a little bit more special. I have a number of clients that I do regularly, and then a number that I make specifically for, and then a number that just come pre-race season and just buy from the shelf, buy from what I have. Yeah, and I'm also very fortunate that I supply a shop in Miami. I send a number of pieces over there every season too. So
And the Miami, is that I've seen a few of your pieces appear at the Kentucky Derby. Is that
Yes.
how they end up there?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I've seen one of your I knew it was yours. It was a beautiful it was a pink piece made and it's up in quite a few places. It got quite a bit of press.
Oh yes, that she won best hat, that lady, yes. At that year at Kentucky Derby.
Was that that she custom made by you, or was that one she picked up?
No, she purchased from the shop in Miami. Yeah.
The Miami shop. So how did that partnership come about?
Basically, she contacted me. That's the beauty of social media, I guess. That she saw a few things of mine online or whatever, and asked me to send her some photos of some other pieces, and it's sort of gone from there. Yeah. So I'm actually in the process of making 3 for her at the moment for something special.
And do you make pieces especially for her shop, or does she choose from your existing collection and to produce them for her?
Both. She sometimes will send me a picture of an outfit and say, what can we do to go with this? Yeah. So she still has some input, and has a few ideas what she would want, or will look at something I've done and say, can you do this in, another colour?
And do you find the style of hats that her customers are wearing or that travel over to the Derby, are they different to what you'd make for your local Australian clientele?
Yes. I find that her market, they don't actually wear hats. So like a hat that fits on your head, they wouldn't wear a boater or something, for example. They have to wear something, well, they still call them fascinators. I don't. But, yeah, you know what I mean? They still want something that's sculptural and balancing on your head, not an actual head-fitting hat.
So have you got any special little projects in the works that you could share with us?
Well, like I said, I'm doing 3 special pieces to go to America, and they're a bit of a secret, but I will show you when I'm done.
Yeah, we'd love to see when they're done.
And yes, it's for a race day over there in May, and I've got a few little jobs happening for Old Parliament House. They have like a dress-up area for the schools program where people can come, students come in and they can wear Prince, whatever his name was, that opened Parliament House. They can wear his hat, like the bicorn with the feathers on the top, or they can wear a speaker's wig, or they can wear a Lady of the Day type hat, yeah. So I'm doing some more of those for them. So that's a bit of fun.
That's fantastic. It was so lovely to speak with you about hats today. Cynthia, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. You're so lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode with Cynthia. We'd like to thank our Patreon podcast sponsors, Ms. Haiti Millinery, the Millinery Association of Australia, Catherine Cherry Millinery, Hat Academy, The Essential Hat, and Louise McDonald Milliner. You can show your support of this Millinery.info podcast series by becoming a sponsor. Our podcast sponsorship starts from just $15 per month. As one of our great sponsors put it, it's less than a coffee a week to show your support. As part of your sponsorship, you'll receive a thank you in our monthly podcast, just like we did then. Link to your website in our podcast articles online and in our newsletter. You can choose to support us ongoing or for a set period of time. It's a great way to have your business, supplies, or event heard about in ears of milliners across the globe and support this series. You can keep up to date with the latest podcasts or look back through the series on our website or follow along on your favorite podcast app. If you know someone who might be interested in taking a listen, how about sending them a link to your favorite episode? We hope you've enjoyed this episode with Cynthia, and we look forward to bringing you another episode.